Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Origins and Beyond. We had our first event 2 months ago, I believe, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm very, very privileged to welcome you all. And today's topic is going to be presented by the one and only Clement Akron. He is the CEO of Healingsprings Fellowship, and he is hosting today's event. He'll be talking about digital divide, all things digital, and how we can close the gap, especially during these times, how we can pivot, and how we can really bring our skills and knowledge into the digital world. So I'm really looking forward to his insights. Please, if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to put them down in the chat box because we will be addressing all of them after the presentation. So without further ado, I would like to present to you Clement Akron.
Thank you very much, Veronica, and welcome everyone. This is the second installment of Origins and Beyond, and we've been looking forward to this event for a while now. So hopefully we'll be able to run through some of the ideas that we've been pondering over and some of the experiments that we've ran and share results with you, and perhaps see how you can join efforts with us. So afterwards, I'll be treating questions from Veronica and questions from the audience. So bear with us, stay with us, and we're in for a good time. So let's go into my presentation. Could you just type in a 1 if you can see my slides? 1? Yeah, just type in 1. Excellent. Okay. I can see a big smile on Veronica's face, so I'm sure my slides are up. Excellent. Okay, so digital divide. So let's look at the outline for today's session. So the first thing to treat will be what exactly the digital divide means. I mean, in terms of definition, and we'll look at that. Then I'll go into some of the impacts of the digital divide, and also what we're doing to close this gap at Healingsprings Fellowship. And again, we'll open up afterwards for some questions from the audience after my interview with Veronica. So the term digital divide is a very interesting one. There are a number of definitions, but I think a very good working definition for us today will be this one. It's defined simply as the gap that exists between individuals who have access to modern information and communication technology and those who lack. So this gap, hence the term divide. So on one hand, you have people that have access to technology, to knowledge base, to explore and harness this technology. And on the other hand, you have those, even with the best will and intention, do not have the capability and capacity to participate effectively in this platform. There are three major types of digital divide. We've got gender divide, we've got social divide, we've got universal access divide. So in terms of gender, that's pretty straightforward again. You know, men in low income countries are 90% more likely to own a mobile phone than women. Among women that own a device, 1.2 billion in low and middle income countries have no access to the internet. So we see women with devices, again, not having access to the internet and for a plethora of reasons, some of which we'll be exploring through this talk. Also, we see the social divide where non-connected groups are exiled from the global digital village because they lack access to the benefits of the internet. There's the third, but not the least by any means, universal access. We're talking here about disabled people amongst us. Also those with digital literacy, so people that lack the skills and the resources to actually participate, access to electricity and inadequate broadband connection also are key elements. There are a number of elements for Time will just focus on these three. The major impacts. The first one is always the economic one, the economic impact, and we can see even with the pandemic, most of the decisions by policymakers was driven by the economy. The minute businesses said going out of business and people out of work, most countries were forced to lift the lockdown, regardless of what the data was saying. So the economy, I think perhaps if there's any lesson we will take from this pandemic, it's the place that economy places in social stability. Telecommunication services boost economic growth, goes without saying. The internet enables and empowers economic productivity in nations, as well as working remotely. We can sell online. Paperless transactions are convenient and faster means of doing business, and we've seen that ever before. Contracts can easily be signed online these days. We don't need to physically meet to do business. We can do that through Zoom. I'm doing a presentation now via Demio, which is a platform similar to Zoom or Google Hangout, and we've seen the uptake in use of these technology. It's astronomical. It's just gone really crazy, and I don't think even after this pandemic that things will come back to normal, because the minute you start harnessing and using this technology, the minute you start enjoying the benefits of this technology, there's no turning back. But also you have the younger generation, those we term as the digital natives. They grew up with technology, they grew up with the internet, and for them this is it. This is how it's going to be. It's not a matter of liking it or enjoying it or not. It is how the future looks. Academics argue of two main school of thought in terms of what drives change. Some say, oh, it's technology. Others say, oh, no, it's human beings. It's the way human beings design technology or use technology. I mean, we could argue till the cows come home about it, but the truth is, the evidence is there that technology is changing the way we do things. Before the lockdown, most companies had policies in place for remote working, but those policies were reserved for a few, maybe senior managers, or in some cases, which are genuine cases, women that had young children that they had to care for. But I was of the opinion that benefit should be open to everyone. But at the end of the day, with the lockdown, we see that it can be open to everyone, and people can be trusted to work from home, and people who work from home and businesses have continued operating, and some have even scaled up, and we see exponential growth in their figures. The internet is in terms of education, it's a rich source and a library of information. It hosts numerous education platforms like Coursera, Udemy. I'm a big fan of Coursera. I always promote them. I enjoy studying on my own, studying remotely. In fact, I've taken up a few courses with them. I'm one of their beta testers, as it were, so I have access to their courses to assess and give feedback on what I feel about the courses, as well as paying for some of the courses to support the cause. So again, these platforms are there. We have access to Wikipedia, for instance, huge wealth of information. Access to IT has been linked to academic success, to innovation, to excellence in scientific research. People can collaborate very easily. You could do desk-based research and get access into some really rich database of resources to strengthen your arguments in terms of research. Cloud-based technology is opening new opportunities for learning. Amazing. A classic example at Healingsprings, we some of the stuff we're doing right now is because of cloud-based technology, but also because of the opportunities of remote working, and some of these things I'll be going into at the B part of my lecture. Internet access drives communication without any doubt. Social media, VoIP for voice over internet, phone calls. We connect easily for business and leisure through social media platforms. Facebook, it's a big shopping website now. Amazon, we know benefits of Amazon, or we know what Amazon has to offer in terms of moving products globally and reaching new markets. We now have faster access to information in comparison to when it was all print based. Our access and consumption of art and music have been dramatically transformed through technology. There's also a very important point, which is the fourth industrial revolution. So, according to WEF, the World Economic Forum, the fourth industrial revolution represents a fundamental change in the way we live, in the way we work, and in the way we relate to one another. It is, in fact, a new chapter in human development, enabled by extraordinary technology advances, which second to none, really, in comparison to the first, second, and third revolution. This is what is in front of us: AI, machine learning. Very interesting debate right now on the use of AI in predicting results with the recent A-level results and exam results are out. I'll leave you to draw the conclusion. But these things are here to stay. This is just the beginning. We will see AI used in different forum. I strongly believe that even in terms of governments, there will be big multinational firms that will come up. Some of them are there right now, but there'll be new firms that will come up, and they will use data in providing decision making to government, to a point where we'll have governments that would outsource some key decisions, especially big decisions, to AI. You can take that as a prediction, but I bet you would see that happen in the next 10 years. Everything is there for it to happen. So what can we do? What can we do to close the gap? I'm a firm believer that as active citizens, we could do a lot. It's funny, I was having a conversation with a friend about a couple of months ago, because the initial focus of this lecture was on Lagos, looking at what a provision was doing to engage people in slums. But with the pandemic and other challenges, it just didn't happen. But I believe it's a conference that we'll put together in the future, because I think there are things we can learn from what this project is delivering in terms of widening participation and engaging new audiences in the use of technology. So I strongly believe in active participation. I strongly believe in people taking the bulls by the horn, people like you and I taking the bulls by the horn and doing what we can with a view to bring about change, not leaving everything to the government. I believe the government has a role to play. Don't get me wrong, the government has an active role to play. But I think as time goes on, we'll begin to see governments as platform enablers, and most of the work will be done through active citizenship. So we believe in that, and you'd see some of the things we are doing to plug these gaps that governments have not been able to plug. And the reason why we're doing this is, or what inspired us to do this, is the goal 4 in the UN's Sustainable Development Goal, which is all about ensuring inclusivity and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning for all. So it's about widening participation. It's about equality of opportunity. It's about giving people opportunity to participate in this digital village. And we believe Healingsprings Fellowship has a good place, or we're well placed to engage and be effective in this area. I mean, an example of that is youth employment. Youth unemployment is a big area. I've had the privilege to have worked in this industry for over 20 years now, predominantly in England, in London, especially working in inner city areas, engaging young people that we term as NEETs, so those that are not in education, employment or training, engaging them and working with them with a view to get them into employment, education or further training. So I know firsthand the impact of these interventions and the impact of youth unemployment. I was looking at figures; the numbers are getting higher, especially with the present pandemic. Again, with the lockdown and some companies finding it difficult to accommodate apprentices, especially those that haven't got the privilege to work from home, more around the more hands-on type fields. I mean, it's devastating. And again, it's for people like you and I to come up in better ways in which we can do things. I mean, if there's anything we've learned from this pandemic, it can't be business as usual. We need to come up with innovative ways to engage and do business. So, for instance, according to the UN, youth employment has grown from 249 million in 2016 to 267 million in 2019, and it's expected to hit 273 million by 2021. So it's increasing. Around 400 million people aged between the ages 15 and 24 are missing out on employment opportunities. And to think about being unemployed, apart from the social and health impact, it also has an impact on the economy, because a man or a woman or a young person that's not working is someone that's not using their skills. And we know in a digital or in a technological driven society, things change really quickly. Even for those in companies, there is a huge disparity with, companies that are highly innovative and companies that are slow towards technology, let alone for people that are not even engaging with this technology. There's one thing to learn about something, there's another thing to actually utilize and engage with these tools. So I strongly believe that we need to engage and find creative ways in which we can help our young people get back into some sort of working environment. According to Deloitte, a well-known consultancy firm, ICT can provide the greatest boost to SDGs. So SDG is an acronym for Sustainable Development Goals, the one I looked at earlier. For instance, in Goal 4, that has to do with education. So linked to infrastructure, that's Goal 9, health, which is Goal 3, and education, which is Goal 4. So what this research is showing that it's the ICT, it's a cross-cutting theme. It cuts through infrastructure, it cuts through health, and cuts through education. It underpins these three key areas. We suggest that these areas may be priority areas for investment. So they're recommending that investment should go to these areas. So what are we doing? We've seen examples of how we can engage or the sort of problems and challenges that are upon us. And what are we doing? Well, we've been very busy. You might want to know. From mid-June to date, we've been running labs. So these are business labs. So we come up with ideas, generate ideas, we test these ideas and see how best we can move forward. Healingsprings Fellowship has been repurposed. So our original position has changed, which was mainly engagement through religious means and meetings, but now we're looking at a wide engagement in terms of human capital development. So going out there and engaging everyone on a common ground with a view to move people into progress and prosperity. So we looked at amongst all these ideas that we looked at, we came up with three key ones. So knowledge transfer program. Our knowledge transfer program looks into exploration of agricultural and business opportunity and IT opportunity in two countries at the moment, so Liberia and Sierra Leone. So we're looking at agricultural projects. We're working with partners on the ground on how we can share knowledge in terms of agriculture, in terms of business, in terms of IT, so we can provide volunteer opportunities and training, and help these businesses to be sustainable. Also sourcing and exportation of agricultural products for markets in the West. So we're doing that at the moment in Rando. So we're working with partners on the ground. So looking at the kind of crops, the kind of products that we can move into markets in the Europe. Again, sharing and exchanging ideas and knowledge, strengthening what these companies and organizations are already doing on the ground. We're looking at workforce development. So workforce development is quite interesting because not only does that address the unemployment issues that I mentioned earlier on, it also prepares the workforce for the fourth industrial revolution. So we're looking at, in the UK, for instance, we're looking at apprenticeship. The government has introduced a number of programs to foster and to increase the numbers of apprentices, especially in the digital landscape. So we're looking at volunteering, we're looking at traineeship, which is slightly different from apprenticeship, and we're looking at apprenticeship itself. So in business and IT related fields in the UK. And for the field, especially in Sierra Leone and Nigeria, we're looking at working with volunteers. The reason why we have a difference in what we're doing in the UK and what we're doing in these other countries, the fact that we have a backing from the government. When I mean a backing, in other words, the government policies that underpin apprenticeship, for instance, that underpin traineeship, for instance. So it's easy for us to provide that to beneficiaries in the UK. But for the field, we're looking at volunteering opportunities with training. The third one also is good practice sharing. So from these labs that we've been running, we've been able to glean and pull together a database of good practices, which we believe we can share with other small businesses, especially startups and charities that are looking to scale up operations, are looking to recruit high quality workforce. So we're looking at areas like cloud-based technology, digital marketing, collaborative tools to facilitate remote working. And we're looking, so we have our products within that portfolio, and we'll be rolling those out in the next month, in the next couple of months. So we've got 3 minimum viable products, MVPs. First one being Bridge the Gap, our knowledge transfer with the developing world. And some of the examples that I touched on previous slides. We have work features, which is the workforce development initiative to address the levels of unemployment owing to the present pandemic, but also to address the skills gap with regards to the fourth industrial revolution. And we have Healingsprings Consulting, which is our good practice, sharing our knowledge and ideas with similar companies. So these 3 areas that I've just mentioned are underpinned again by government policies, especially in the UK in terms of apprenticeship and traineeship. With our volunteering scheme, we're looking at crowdfunding and also sponsorship, both private and corporate sponsorship, to help towards acquisition of cutting-edge technology. As you know, these technology we're trying to get our beneficiaries to engage with do not come free. So we're trying to get sponsors to pay for licenses. We're trying to get sponsors to pay for the administration of the project, to get people in place that administer the reviews and make sure that our volunteers are on track and they're progressing, but also helping them, coaching them to for instance, revamp the LinkedIn profile, their CV, coaching them interview skills, job search skills, because ultimately we want them to progress into employment, ideally with us, as we grow, retain some of our best volunteers. But again, if we can't, we would like them to progress and go into full education or further training. We have some strategic crowdfunding campaigns in place to address these financial gaps. Consultancy services, again, will through knowledge exchange and ideas, we'll be able to generate enough funds to keep businesses afloat. But perhaps most importantly, it's the income generated through activities with our partners on the ground, and we're hoping that these projects will be sustainable um, to a point where they'll be able to recruit these young people and employ more young people, and just keep that chain of progress going. So we will be offering opportunities in digital technology, so graphic design, web design and maintenance. We've seen the power of the internet. We've seen the power of web technology more than ever before. Digital sales and marketing. Again, the power of the internet in terms of bringing markets to people. Project management tools, agile, um, business model canvas, frameworks. This, cutting edge framework, use of collaborative tools like Microsoft Teams, for instance, cloud based technology like G Suite, AWS, IT security. We've seen a rise in demand for IT security experts as a result of more people working from home, as to working in the offices. We've realized that our systems are vulnerable. Also, we've realized that internet speed perhaps not what we were sold in the first place. That's a topic for another day. But also areas like HR, so helping businesses ascertain what their needs are, what sort of skills gap are in their companies, and how they can attract those skills and retain them. We're also looking at some ideas, and I was exploring this idea in one of our with a meeting with one of our partners, where we'll have a pool of staff that can, go on secondment to SMEs and charities. So, for instance, one individual might be able to work for 3 or 4 companies, but this is only possible at the moment with our volunteers, because of restrictions with apprenticeship and traineeship. But this is a possibility. These are areas we're exploring, because we realize that some companies may not be able to, or might not need a full-time staff, but at the same time they need that service. So if we have an individual, for instance, a web developer that can work with 3 or 4 organizations to meet their needs, then it's a win-win. The web developers increasing his or her skills. These companies are getting high quality websites that will enhance their products and services. Video editing, we're seeing the power of YouTube, uh, the power of video in terms of sales and marketing. We'll be exploring that a lot more with our programs, and we'll be looking to employ and train more young people, especially with video editors. Also, we have companies that have come on board that are willing to serve as coach and mentors to some of these young people. So these are existing companies already working in these sectors, and they're willing to come in and engage with our young people, and use that as a means of coaching and mentoring. Events management, again, this is a classic example. This is an event. We'll be using this to train people on how to organize events, how to use social media, how to um, facilitate events, and skills like that. So, in closing, what I've attempted to achieve through this talk is to provide you with a working definition for digital divide. The term digital divide, I believe we now understand what that is. To explore some of the impact of digital divide. So, what sort of impact does it make on society and community, both negative and positive impacts? Then also discuss what we're doing to close the gap at Healingsprings Fellowship, and mention Bridge the Gap, Works Future, and Healingsprings Consulting. 3 ideas which we'll be scaling up from our Ideas Lab, to offer you opportunity to get involved in our efforts in closing the divide. So you might want to be involved through our sponsorship. You might be working in an organization where you think, oh, we could do with coaching and mentoring some of you young people. Please get in touch with me. You might be an organization that wants to explore new ideas in terms of corporate social responsibility, you're in the right place. Just let us know. You might be a policymaker that thinks, oh, we love what they're doing at Healingsprings Fellowship. We'd like to test some more ideas. We're open to find opportunities in the area of workforce development. But also, we're extending our hands to the governments in the developing world. We're happy to come and help you to learn from some of the incredible things you're doing, and not thinking that we in the West always know best. No, it's all about partnership and collaboration to see how best we can move people forward. So I believe I've set the scene for the next segment. Thank you very much for your time, and stay with us.
Yes.
We'll be going to an interview session, and I'll take questions from you.
Okay. So we're having the session in this frame. Good. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Clement, for that presentation. I was listening behind the scenes and taking notes. Before we even go any further, let the listeners, the attendees, write how you're finding the presentation informative, insightful. How are you finding the information? Chat down below. Let's see that you're there with us still. Yes. Addresses, thank you. Informative, Nadia, thank you. Yes, it was very informative. We can see that Clement has a broad knowledge about these things. Very interesting for sure, very useful. Thank you, Steve and Andrea. And thank you, Clement, for really organizing this event and sharing your knowledge and your your knowledge and your expertise. I forgot I didn't introduce myself. Well, my name is Veronica, and
Please do.
my name is Veronica, and I'm an online business mentor and a deep dive personal growth coach. So when I'm listening to Clement talk about all the things, coaching, mentoring the young ones, the youth coming up, I find myself very excited because it's a much needed thing. So Clement, I have a few questions that I noted down. We know about the unemployment that is on the rise, and that there are some fundings and there are some openings for particular segments. What about those that don't have the opportunity to get employed? How do you suggest that they use their knowledge or they digitalize their knowledge into an online program or an online course? I'm very much into these topics because I help service-based business owners create their courses. And I know that each and every one of us has a gold mine of knowledge. Lucy, building the work that you're doing to support others. Yes, it is true. Monique, Claudine, Lucy, Andrea, and all the attendees here, they all have a gold mine of knowledge, experience, expertise, personally and professionally. How do you suggest that in this time we take the steering wheels into our own hands and digitalize our knowledge? What's your view on that, Clement?
Well, that's a brilliant question. Yeah, that's a brilliant question. I was thinking out loud the other day, and I realized that one of the benefits that we have, and it's sad. I mean, the pandemic. Don't get me wrong; it's a terrible, terrible, terrible crisis. However, it brings, it opens the doors to incredible opportunities at the same time. I mean, we've lost people. It's still there. But, hopefully the second wave will not be as bad as the first. But I mean, a classic example. One of the things that actually held us back at Healingsprings Fellowship was access to building. So, bricks and mortar offices to get people in and all that. As you know, in the West, to get an office space, you'd be paying serious money. But also in terms of, acquiring the workforce that you need to deliver these projects and ideas, it's also a challenge, especially at a startup level where, there's no other source of income. You probably dip in from your savings and stuff like that. But what this pandemic provided us with is the assurance that with technology, we can do more. People can work remotely. I mean, some of the adverts that we placed on LinkedIn, I was amazed at the quality of people that were applying, and the range of people that are applying from all over the world. And it just dawned on me that, you know what, we can access people from all over the world. One of the attendees, or one of the members of the audience, is actually a volunteer, Abiola, a
Hello,
great
Abiola.
guy that I recruited just about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, from Nigeria, and he's based in Nigeria. This guy, oh, seriously, he's amazing. So I advertised for a volunteer for a WordPress developer, and he applied. I think I got about 30 applicants. So the second shift, the third shift, and finally I offered him the role. This guy is amazing. I mean, with the challenges with the internet, electricity, we still collaborate. And sometime in the middle of a meeting, the line goes down. All these challenges, and for me, it's been a learning experience. But I was excited. I was able to give him, and I gave him this role based on merit, because at the end of the day, he delivered the presentation that I was expecting, a very high quality presentation with the ideas in which some of the ideas I was looking at, and I gave him that role. So that is an example, and of Healingsprings working with a volunteer in Nigeria. There's another volunteer in Sierra Leone. Sar, I don't know if Sar, are you there? If you're there, give me a thumbs up. Doing some amazing stuff in the rural part of Sierra Leone, engaging young people, working with them, looking at some agricultural projects and all that. So in response to your question, I'll encourage people to be creative. I'll encourage people to think out of the box, but perhaps most importantly, to be patient. Because these labs that we were taught, that I alluded to earlier on, it wasn't easy. It took time. We learned from our failures, but now we've come up with some minimum viable products that we're willing to scale up, and so it's an exciting
Yes,
time.
absolutely. When I talk about the knowledge that is out there, even within the unemployed sector, they've lost
Mm.
their jobs. I can give you some examples of some people who've lost their jobs during the COVID-19 phase, and getting a job was quite challenging. So there was a question on what can I do? Like, instead of sitting there waiting for a job or waiting for an opportunity, why don't I create an opportunity? Because usually we wait for opportunities to
Absolutely.
come to us. But during this time, it's much more wiser to now start creating opportunities. And how do you create opportunities for yourself? Getting visible. One thing that I help my clients working with them is leverage their visibility online. So, with the unemployed sector, how do you believe that they can once again take the steering wheel into their hands and create opportunities for themselves by becoming more visible and showcasing their skills through online videos on social media, such as LinkedIn, especially, and showcasing their personalities, because ultimately the employers also buy into who you are as an individual, not just your skills. So
Absolutely.
pretty much creating a visibility strategy for yourself could really, leverage your
Mm.
chances of getting noticed. I'd like for you to comment below in the chat box. How many of you here are visible online? How many of you have created a presence online where you showcase yourself? They call it branding. Yes, we're branding ourselves consciously or unconsciously, whether you know it or not. As long as you stand for something, you're branding yourself with your values, what's important to you, and how you show up in the world. So, yeah, comment below. Are you visible? Yes or no? Do you have a social media presence? Yes or no? I'd like to see in the chat box how that's for you. Yes, Anna Maria, great. Yes, Valentine, social media presence and blogging, great. Okay. So, yeah, Clement, the question is, how do you believe that we can create our own opportunities? Because at this time, we're waiting for opportunities and waiting for others to create that space for us. But how about if we created that on our own? How would you, guide them through that?
Absolutely.
Invisible
The two
Monique.
things we're really big on.
Monique says, I'm on social media, but I'm not sure if I'm visible.
Amongst,
Yeah, you can't. The fact that you've got an account doesn't mean that you're visible. Yes. Okay.
she's probably wearing shades and so.
Thank you, Monique, for that.
But so going back to your question, so what we've done, we've looked at two things. One of the things
You
that
research your name.
one of the things one of the things that technology or one of the things that we can harness is volunteering opportunities. The good thing about volunteering opportunity, it gives you an opportunity to keep your skill levels up. So you're working while looking for work. So we thought, okay, what can we offer? At the end of the day, we've got some capabilities, we've got projects that we want to be delivered. So what if we give people an opportunity to come in, utilize those skills, build a portfolio that they can use confidently to present to an employer? And that's why also our volunteering program is underpinned by training. So we're working in collaboration with companies like Coursera, Udemy. So these people that are offering us their skills also have access to cutting edge training, which is really key, because the minute you're involved in cutting edge technology, using this technology in a meaningful way, it gives you that confidence to stand before an employer in an interview to say, yes, I've used this skill, I'm using this skill, this is my portfolio, and this is the reason why I think I'm the most suitable person for that role, in comparison to someone that, not working and not utilizing that skill. But also, you alluded to a very good point, which is also the ability to start something. And oftentimes we have so much potential. There are things that we can start, and the internet offers us that opportunity to pull things together online, start selling, creating videos, sourcing things from one end, connecting people in another end, getting there are various ways, and there are a lot of ideas that we are exploring even at Healingsprings, which we will be sharing through that consultancy arm. We're looking at developing courses, on Coursera, on YouTube, and our own courses in places where we think we've learned a few lessons, and we want to share that with people with a view for them to move on. But there are opportunities, and there are opportunities. And the other thing also I'll mention is oftentimes we think about money. The minute we think about opportunity, think, oh my God, but if I had £5,000, if I had £10,000, if I had £20,000. But I'll give you a classic example. I mean, what have we done? We've come up with ideas. We've used technology. I mean, advertising on LinkedIn is free. We've used technology to reach out to people. These people are now using their skills, to add value to us and to add value to their skill sets. So we're creating an ecosystem. And again, through our interaction with these businesses on the ground, especially in the developing world, we will be able to have viable products and services that we can sell, and the funds will be reinvested in the training and upskilling of our young people, especially.
Thank you so much, Clement, for those answers. And maybe now we can open the platform for our listeners who have some questions. I trust that there are at least a few questions that you'd like to address to Clement or myself. Feel free to put them in the chat box. Let the first one, do we have a prize for the first question? Not planned, but I think it's something that we may think about for next time. Any questions? Yes.
For next time,
Any
yes,
questions
yes.
that you... Sorry?
Yeah, a Mars bar. A Mars bar. A Mars bar.
Any questions, Monique and Maria, about what has been the biggest challenge so far, Clement?
Oh, I think it's the biggest challenge has been me believing in me. It's interesting. I saw a quote recently, and this guy said, "When you've exhausted motivation, you need discipline." Yeah, there's some mornings I wake up and I think, oh, what is the point? And I sit and I think about Abiola, and great guy, and I think, oh, I wish I could do more for this guy, and and sometimes you think, oh, I want to do so much and help more people like him and help him progress and stuff. But at the same time, one has to be realistic as to what one can achieve. The other thing I realized also is when you're small, people hardly take you seriously. People promise to let you down. They would say, "Oh, I'll show up." They won't show up, and they might not even apologize or whatever. But at the end of the day, those are the things come with being small. So once you realize these things, when people let you down, when people disappoint you, when people do not take you seriously, you just look further. You look at the bigger vision, and that keeps me awake. That keeps me going. I've created this thing from nothing. It's all based on an idea, and all the labs and the things we're running are all based on ideas and the commitments of good and well-meaning people. Someone like Abiola, for instance, that stayed on. Somebody like Sa in Sierra Leone that stayed on, believing in the vision, still working with us.
Yes, sometimes we are the greatest challenges. We get in our own way with our thoughts and our fears. But most of the greatest masterminds started small. So those that are disappointing now and kind of turning away, they'll be reaching back when we're big and out there and doing great things. Anne-Marie, I'd like to address this question actually because I like it. She's asking about the fear of online presence, as there's a risk a negative post can be detrimental. Well, you know what? Whenever we're trying to get an online presence, there has to be an intention behind it. There has to be a purpose behind it. Is it for your services? Is it for something that you stand for and you believe in and you're posting about this topic? I post a lot around, of course, program creation, right? Online presence, inspiration, mindset stuff. And do I have fears behind my post? Is somebody going to disagree with me or come after me with his or her opinions? Anne-Marie, first and foremost, everybody has a right to their opinion. So if somebody doesn't necessarily agree with us and comes across with an opposite opinion, the only thing that we can do is say, thank you very much for your opinion. Thank you very much for contributing. As long as it's not offensive, everybody has a right to their opinion. I put posts out there and I expose myself to being attacked, but I have no fear because I'm clear in what I stand for. I have clarity on why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I am very confident in the words that I put out there, in the posts that I put out there. So when you have confidence and you have clarity on why you're doing those things, then you're pretty much okay and pretty much prepared for any opinions which don't necessarily agree with yours. And actually, it's great when somebody doesn't always agree, right? Because then you have a constructive conversation and you can share insights. The only thing is when somebody's offensive, when somebody's trolling, well, you know what? The questions, Anne-Marie, do we want to, I've chosen to ignore, the haters. There are always going to be haters. You may have hundreds of positive feedback, and then that one person says something out of anger, out of just jealousy. Haters are going to be always haters. And if you have a hater, that means you're doing something right. let's not allow one person out of the hundreds of positives and hundreds of, encouragements derail us. If that person's being offensive on LinkedIn, either I block the person and report the person and I move on. You choose where you channel your energy. You choose. So if you allow it to affect you, remember that's your choice. It's not the hater's choice. It's not the hater's fault if it gets to you. It's your choice. Remember that when you go in with that mindset, you're pretty much equipped to handle these things. Do not derail from the mission. Absolutely, Anna. And remember, we are not necessarily, as a social media content creator, I'm not here to compete. I am here to create. So we are not competing against each other. We are creating. We're all creators. So I hope that helped, Clement.
Absolutely, yeah. And by the way, you guys need to hook up with Veronica. She has some amazing videos. I've never
Well,
seen
yeah, they
anyone
know
dance
me as
like
the
her. So
dancing Afro queen. So yes, and that's another thing with digitalization for you guys. It's not only about knowledge. It's not only about the knowledge or the titles that you carry. You express yourself beyond those labels. And I love dancing. I express that because I know that I will find my tribe. My tribe loves having fun. They love dancing. Yes, they're professionals, but that's not all of it, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. We've
Yes,
got some
hi
really big
Clem. In
questions
terms of
coming through.
disparity between those who
Yeah,
have access to information and technology and those who don't, I strongly believe this is the right time to approach these big organizations for them to put their money where their mouth is during the Black Lives Matter era. As I believe we who live in the West are fighting against racism, but for people in the third world country, they are fighting poverty and lack of information.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I
thank
couldn't
you.
agree more with that. And that's why we're looking at um, um, crowdfunding and also corporate social responsibility using the CSR to talk to these organizations and to encourage them to do more. One of the frustrating things, like I alluded to earlier on, was the fact that some of the opportunities we can offer to UK citizens are not available to the likes of Abiola or even Star. For instance, we can offer apprenticeship, and the government will, pay towards their training, whilst we offer them a role and we pay them, salary, a minimum wage for at least a year. With the traineeship, for instance, you can get a young person for 9 months or 1 year, and they work for you for free. They still get the benefits, and which is really good for small businesses if you're looking to scale up. But sadly, we can't afford that to people in the developing world. So we're hoping that those gaps will be plugged by the corporate sector. And I believe this also addresses Abiola's question, which is based on your presentation. Please, how do you plan to achieve this? I mean, empowering youth opportunity. Is it job, grant for SMEs, loan, or otherwise through volunteering? And again, Abiola, at the moment, it would, for those in the world, it will be through corporate social responsibility, through private people or corporate organizations that want to support what we are doing with beneficiaries. In the UK, that again, there's the apprenticeship and the traineeship. Another one we're looking at is loans again for SMEs. That's a very interesting one. Again, as Veronica alluded to earlier on, sometimes it's best to set up your own business, and we're big supporters of that. People setting up their businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrea, other positive people that can tap into create, love me, cry. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
interesting.
She was commenting on
Did you see that,
the
Veronica?
haters. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Andrea. I'm learning
Yes,
from
any more
that.
questions that we
Yeah.
have?
Uh,
I'm really enjoying the discussions. It's a great presentation. Yes, it is. Thank you.
And Sa is on, by the way. Sa is another volunteer we're working with in Sierra Leone, a great guy that's working in a rural part of Sierra Leone, engaging young people in the farming projects. Great guy. I just feel privileged to be working with these people. They're amazing. They're amazing. But also, just working with them has made me to understand
Yes.
the digital divide itself. You know, sometime we're on WhatsApp. I'm trying to get them to use Google Hangout. It's
Yes, it's quite
difficult.
a
The line
challenge.
drops, and
I always
you
have
use.
oh, absolutely. I mean,
It is a
you're going to
challenge.
overcome that, with the perseverance. I always have this. It's less of a dream, and it's becoming a reality more so. It started off as a dream, as a vision. I'd always wanted to go back to my father's village back in Ghana, in the Ashanti region, because I'm from Ghana, and because of my skills of creating online presence and online businesses, and how these business owners can package their knowledge into an online course or an online program. I wanted to take that offline and go back to the village and help the women, especially, create and package their knowledge, actually discover what their skills and their talents and that secret sauce that each individual has. I call it the gold dust. I call it the gold. Everybody has your gold dust, the little particles that we don't necessarily notice. But when we put it together, we have this golden nugget. And I'll have this dream of really going there and training these women on how they can package their secret sauce and take their gold dust and create a golden nugget that they can teach others and give of yourself. The fact that we're from the village doesn't mean that we don't have something to offer people who are not in the village. Even you'd be surprised. It is very visible with the online world today, where we have very young boys and girls who are social media experts working for multi-million companies on how to build their social presence. Nobody teaches you this in school. These young boys and these young girls have learned it from experience from Instagram and Facebook, and how to build an online community. And these multi-million companies, the old school guys, have no idea. So they're really taking these young boys and girls on board and giving them roles that you'd never even have thought of. So I really I'm going to Ghana in September. So I'm going to organize something small as a little project. Okay, let me, my little boy.
I think Philip is excited. He thinks, no, you're not going to Ghana. Okay, it's interesting because we have a number of people that are dropping ideas and or just expressing what they feel about what we're doing. I think at this stage it might be good. I know someone wants to get in touch with Valentine wants to get in touch um, with with with, with Veronica. Yeah, Veronica's a coach. She's a really good coach. She works with people to help them develop their business, but also to help them package their products, especially courses. She's from a teaching background, so she works a lot in the area of teaching and to improve your products and services, especially in the digital world. I think in the absence of any more questions, I'll put forward a call to action. This meeting, I believe, has been a success. We're hoping to continue doing it, running it on a bite-monthly basis. I'm looking at ideas around.
I'm just writing.
Okay, we have Veronica back. Looking at ideas around. I'm looking at ideas around venture capitalism, capitalists rather. Sorry, I've got a few contacts. I've got one in Ghana and another guy in Nigeria. These are young guys that are doing some incredible stuff in the area of IT. Helping young talents in IT to harness their skills build apps and get them funding to get them started. So we'll be hosting this the next one in October. It might be earlier, but I'll keep you informed. The demand for these programs have really gone up, and I'm excited about it. I think we'll get to a point where it will be a monthly program, but at the moment it's still bi-monthly. So in October we'll be running one around venture capitalists and how they're harnessing potentials in Africa. Some of these organizations we'll be working with to move things forward. Someone saying, "Can we have another session next month?" I think if we have the funds, yes. We have to prioritize. As we're small, well, we're a growing organization. Dare I say small? We're a growing organization, so we have to prioritize what we have, and we'll see. But in the meantime, maybe just for this year, we'll continue bi-monthly. Hopefully, by next year, we'll launch a monthly event, so we can share ideas and just stay and challenge each other and encourage each other. Dare I say, to keep going forward. I'm also looking at things in the arts. I've got Nadia. Nadia's on, so Nadia also will be looking at some of the stuff. We'll be looking at some of the stuff that Nadia is doing. Nadia is a good friend, and she's working within the arts industry, especially film, and she's working with some incredible actors and directors to put forward their product. So there's a lot happening. It's buzzing. I'm so excited.
Hope we can get in touch with Veronica. Yes, you can get in touch with me. Absolutely. I can.
Yeah.
Can I write my email or my LinkedIn? Yeah, just check me out on.
Shoot. I think OJ would want to see that dancing video also. So send a link.
So check me out on LinkedIn. That's hashtag Veronica Owusu. And I'm there. You can always connect with me.
Yeah. Cool. I mean,
I think we have to, actually, no, I know we have. It's been amazing, and I always find it so fascinating how a normal kind of start always broadens to different areas. It's so fluid, it's so organic, these conversations. We don't know where it's going, but it's always going somewhere good. And it's, of course, thanks to the questions as well from the listeners.
Ola's just told us to press for monthly. I mean, there's the demand for monthly. We'll see how we go. It's interesting because I found it out with Google, because we subscribe to Google Suite. We can have access to their platform for free. With Demio,
wow, but there's so many other options. Yeah, if you look into, yeah.
I know. Yeah. So with the free options, yeah, we might consider doing a monthly event. But again, guys, these events take time. I know it's a one of the original plan was for it to be an hour for 5 minutes. But what goes into this an hour for 5 minutes? A lot. But we'll see. I'm not promising, but we'll consider.
Well, if that's the case, and Clement and all our listeners, thank you so much for connecting, for joining us and Clement on this really interesting topic about digital divide and how to close the gap. One thing is definitely my takeaway is if you don't have an online presence, get online, get on social media, interact with others, build a network of people that will bring value into your life, but also give value of yourself. Too often we only expect to receive. Let's get, or what can you give me? What can I receive from you? What can I receive from that person? What can that person give me? The question is, what can you give others of yourself? And there's so much that we can give of ourselves, because the principle says, the more we give, the more we receive. And I'm a living testimony of that. The more I give, the more I receive. Ha
ha. Bishop, we thank you for that exhortation.
Amen.
It's been a brilliant event. It's been a brilliant event. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. Once again, want to thank you for this opportunity. For giving us a bit of time on a busy Saturday to come in and just share some of the great stuff we're doing. We need your support. Please spread the word. Tell people about what we're doing and find ways in which you can engage with us. Feel free, send me an email, arrange a meeting. Let's just have a chat. You'll be amazed the kind of ideas that come out through informal chats. So definitely we are looking forward to October. Mark it in your diary. And if you know anyone that is really good looking for a volunteering opportunity, send them our way, especially in the digital field. Perhaps you have skills yourself and you think, Clem, I can come in and help you with your IT, with your HR, your data protection. You're working and you feel, I could give a bit to this organization. Or perhaps you have some spare cash underneath your bed or your pillow, under your pillow, or in a foreign account somewhere. Please, send it our way. We are a transparent organization. We are really keen to get more people involved and to move things forward.
Yes, the final words
Veronica?
This is the next big thing, right? Just wanted to check the exact. I'm having a closing speech, but I just wanted to check something, and there we go. Origins and beyond is the next big thing, guys. We may be small, we may be just a little community. Steve Jobs and all the other famous characters out there started in their garage. We're starting online, and it's the next big thing. So watch this space, guys. It's going to be lots of informative conversations, lots of things to share, lots of opportunities. So please spread the word. And next time we have this event, make sure you send the link to your communities, your social medias, and let us grow together. That's my final word.
Excellent. And just to say, you can stay on. Thanks to Veronica. And thanks, you guys, please give a big hand to Veronica. I met Veronica on LinkedIn, about a couple of months ago, if less. And it's like we've never met. It's like we've known each other for forever. I mean, I'll just share a story. I had someone in mind to moderate the event, and I was really banking on her. Last minute, she just let me down, and I thought, oh my God. And I remember seeing a video of Veronica dancing on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and sharing some of the stuff she was doing. And I thought, you know what? Let me approach her. And I sent her a request, and she came back, said, let's talk on the phone. I thought, wow. I shared it with her. It was what, 2 days before the event.
And listen, and the only reason is because we vibe together, and he shares values that I shared. His vision about giving back to Africa related to my vision. And that is why I'm here, because we share similar visions and values. And that's what connects people, really, ultimately, values that, you share together. And that's why we stick together.
Absolutely. And, we've been doing it.
And counting.
This is the second one now. And she's but also she promotes us. She talks about what we're doing, and I do the same with her. The world is a big place. There's room for collaboration. I strongly believe in collaboration. So if you think you've got ideas to collaborate, why not? Come together. Let's do something and make a change. Absolutely, yeah. The other thing I would like to say, stay on, because I see people still typing prolifically. Stay on if you want to. I'll leave the session open for a bit. But yeah, we will be off camera, but we'll still be available to just type away for another 30 minutes maybe. Yeah, feel free to network with us and collaborate.
Yeah, feel free to write down what you're doing, where you are from. This is a chance to maybe introduce yourself, because then we never really got them to introduce themselves and what they do and the skills that they have. You know, if you feel you have any knowledge, because my expertise is in online courses and online programs, if you feel you have a secret sauce, some kind of a gold dust you're not quite sure what to do with, you know, comment below. Who knows, we can share some insights and give you some ideas on how you can create a course from that, or really share that skill and package it and fill in a need that some people are looking out there for. If you have a solution, if you have that is the new, that is news, that is a trend, that is a future solution. That's how we really leverage ourselves. If you have a solution to a particular pain point of a specific group of people, and you can package that and brand that and market that, then yeah, Nigeria expertise, writing and fundraising, background, telecom and project management. Yes, you know, if you talk about writing and fundraising, one thing that comes to mind, a course on how to raise funds for small SMEs, for example, that's a course, like a 5-module or a 4-module course on how to raise funds, if this is something that you know. Telecoms and project management, you know, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the other thing, you know, just to strengthen what Veronica said, is we strongly believe in supporting small businesses. You know, start small and just encourage other people that are doing small things, you know, and you'd be amazed the network you pull together within a very short period of time. And also you have like-minded people that are venturing, are doing incredible stuff. Don't be afraid to start small. Start small or think big. And yeah, the world is your oyster. All right, guys.
Okay.
I'll leave
Thank
you,
you
but
so
I'll be
much.
available to text.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you very much once again. Thanks, Veronica. Bye now.